Now let's create the edge around the shield. Okay, so to create the edge, we simply use this gradient. Okay, create a color ramp node. Maybe not the color ramp node because of precision problem. So use the map range node and increase the from mean values like so. Now we will create the equivalent of this color ramp using some math because we want to avoid the precision problem with the color ramp node. Okay, so this is the value range, so we will create a math node and subtract 0.5 and then use absolute and then multiply by 2 and then 1 subtract the value. Now these 4 nodes are the equivalent of this color ramp. Okay, but this will give us absolute precision while the color ramp will give us some errors. Okay, so delete the color ramp node and use these instead. Copy this map range node. This will be 0 like so, and lower the maximum value a bit like so. Alright, so here we have 0.9, right? So the center of this edge should be 0.95, right? But if we have something like 0.8, then the center should be 0.9, right? So we have the center of the edge is the average values of the inner circle and the outer circle. So let's create a value node, and this will be the inner edge. Okay, 0.8. Connect this one here, and we will calculate the average value to get the center position. Okay, so add this with 1 and divide this by 2 to get the average value of the center. Okay, we will use this later. Now this is the blades, right? And let's create a math node and connect this like so and choose maximum like so and connect the maximum over the greater than node. There we go. Now we have something like this. And yeah, let's see. Alright, looks like we have a bit of a problem because we move these blades over to the edge, but we want the center of the blade to be somewhere in here at the center, and we have to cut away the outer portion of the blades. Okay, and we also need to lower the height of these blades a little, so we will multiply this with a weight value like so, and let's change this a bit, maybe increase this mean value and increase this max value. Okay, there we go, something like that. Alright, so we cannot use 1 over here, but we can actually use this average value. Okay, no, not like so. Yeah, create a combine XYZ node and put this in the X dimension, and then connect over here. Alright, now the center of the blade is at the center of the edge, the border of the shield. Okay, now we still need to get rid of this outer portion of the blades. Okay, and to do that, we copy this less than node and connect this length over to the first input and connect this average value, the center value, to the second input. This gives us a mask like this, okay? And now we can multiply this with this mask. This gives us something like this, and then this will give us something like this. And now we have this nice little shield. Alright, let's tweak the shield a bit more. And let's change the number of blades a bit. And you can have 3 blades, you can have 4 blades, you can have whatever number of blades you want. And what happens if we have 0 blade? So 1 is the minimum value. Let's try -1 and nothing happens. -5. Alright, now let's create the bolts for the border of the shield. Let's just make the border a bit thinner, like so. Alright, now we will create the bolt at the center of the border, okay? So in order to create a bolt, we will have to reuse this segment node, okay? So Ctrl-Shift-D to copy the segment nodes, and this will be the number of bolts. So if I say want 40 bolts, I can do that, and I have something like this, okay? So let's copy this length node over, like so. Yeah, let's go ahead and change this a bit. So we will create a combine XYZ node over here and create a vector math node and connect this over here, and let's bring this over here and connect the X value to the group input, and this will be our offset. There we go. Now we have an offset value over here, and now we can go ahead and get rid of these 2 nodes because the node group will do that for us. Alright, so we can now connect this to the offset, okay, of this first segment node. And for the second segment node, let's visualize this node and increase the offset a little until we have something like this, okay? And we can actually also put in the average values over here. So the bolts, the center of the bolt will be on the center of the border, okay? And again, let's use a map range node instead of a color ramp node, okay? Lower this one to 0 and increase this to maybe something like that. Alright, now we have a bunch of bolts, okay? But these bolts are very pointy and not very round. Let's just keep the wood in here, or maybe just group the entire wood bunch into a single node group like that, so that it does not take a lot of space. Now maybe just group everything like that, like so. And yeah, just ungroup this. Alright, now this will be our wood planks, or maybe shield wood. There we go. And this will take up a lot less space, and that will make our nodes a lot cleaner. Alright, now let's visualize the bolts, which is these nodes. So we can copy this, and which one is it? Bring it over here and connect this one over and use add. Alright, let's see. So you can see the bolts are very pointy at the moment, and we don't actually want that. we want round looking bolt instead. But first let's multiply the bolt with a weight value, so maybe 0.1, maybe 0.2, 0.3, yeah, 0.3 is good. So we can use a RGB curve node to make the bolt a bit more round, but the RGB curve node is not very very precise. Okay, where is the shield? The RGB curve node is not very precise, and if you want perfect circular node, bolts, then you have to use math instead. So get rid of the curve node. Let's go back down here, and we need to invert this back. So this is 0.02, right? So set this to 0, and the max values should be 0.02. And create a math node. This one will be arc cosine, and this one will be sine. Now we have a perfectly circular kind of displacement, and we can multiply with a height value and add that to the border. There we go, we have a perfectly round kind of bolt. Alright, now we will reuse this bolt creation group later on, so it is a good idea to group these into a node group. Okay, so select all these nodes and Control G to group, and this one is vector, this one is offset, and this is the number of nodes, bolts number, and let's connect this over, and this will be the height. Alright, and name this one bolts. There we go. And now we can set the number of bolts using this number, and set the height for the bolts using this number. There we go. So let's set this down to 0.3. Things are getting a bit too complicated, right? So now is a good time to organize our things a little bit. And I think we can actually bring this over here. Alright, this will give us exactly the same result, but without any crossing lines. Alright, now let's create the center circle for the shield. Okay, and for the center circle we will use this gradient again. So create another map range node. There we go, and lower this to something like that, or maybe, yeah, like this. Alright, this will be the center of the shield. Okay, so we can actually add this to the other metal part, like so. And let's see, we have the center like so, and we can change this node to control the size of the center part. Lower the max value and lower the mean values. There we go. So this is the center part, and let's create a bunch of bolts for the center as well. Shift D to copy this bolts node and connect the texture coordinate over. There we go. And this time let's offset this in like so, and lower the number of bolts to something reasonable. There we go. And let's rearrange our things a little better. Now we can add this to the center like so, and let's offset this in like so. Alright, now let's see what it looks like. There we go. And let's offset a little more, maybe there we go, and lower the number a little bit. And let's modify the bolt node group to have a size control as well. So this will be the size of the bolt, right? So connect this one over here. This will be our size, like so. And maybe move the size up here. Now we have the size to we can now set the size for the bolts like so. Alright, now we're getting somewhere. Let's get rid of this bump node and change this to the displacement. Okay, so create a vector displacement and connect this to the height, and copy the scale over and set the mid level to 0. Now connect this to the displacement. There we go. Now we have a very nice displacement, but I think the displacement is too weak, so yeah, just leave it as 1 for now. 1 is too strong, so 0.1 maybe. Yeah, maybe 0.1, maybe 0.05. I mean 0.05. This is better, but we need to change this subdivision setting to 2 so that we have more more subdivision to play with, like so. Maybe set this to 1. This will make things a lot slower, but a lot better. And I think the displacement is still too strong, so lower this to 0.025. Maybe lower it a little more, 0.002. And we want the bolts to be a bit higher, so we can go up here and set the height to 0.6. There we go. That will do. And let's leave the bolt at the center as is. Okay. Now let's move on to create the bulge at the center of the shield. Okay. And the bulge is easy, probably the easiest part of this tutorial. And we're gonna create another map range node, and let's set this to 0 and increase the mean to something like 0.15, like so. And again, we want this to be absolutely circular. Okay, so create a math node and arc cosine and then sine. And I forgot, we have to invert. We don't have to invert this, so this will be 0 and this will be 0.15, like so. Now this will be a perfectly circular kind of displacement, and we can again add this over like so. And let's see. There we go. But we need this to be much higher, so create another math node and change this to multiply to increase the height of the center bulge. So this would be, let's say, maybe 3, maybe 5. Yeah, 5 will do. And there we go. We have a very nice looking shield. Now this shield is perfectly flat, so we need some curvature for the shield. Simply make another dot like so, and create a RGB curve node and connect this one over and increase this a little like so. Now maybe we have to invert this curve like so, and yeah, this will give us some kind of negative values on the outside, but we don't care because this part will be cut off, so it doesn't matter. So increase this like so. We don't need the perfectly circular kind of displacement for this, for the curvature of the shield. Okay, and yeah, we will now add this at the end of everything like so, and this has to be add instead of maximum. Alright, now the shield is a bit curved, but not too much, so we have to multiply this a little. There we go, maybe a little more. There we go. Now the shield is perfectly curved. Look at that, we have a very nice looking shield. And then some final touch, let's set some ambient occlusion for the shield. We want around the edge to be a bit darker. Okay, so let's bring everything forward a little, and I think we will have to have some sort of input for the wood. So yeah, let's create another mix node, and maybe set this to multiply, and connect the color 2 to the output, I mean the input. Increase the factor to 1. Okay, and this one will be AO. Okay, and bring this one back. Alright, now we can create an ambient occlusion node and connect this over. Let's increase the contrast for the ambient occlusion a little, so increase the black key to the right, maybe like so, and let's see. So we have some ambient occlusion like so, and let's see how it looks at the end. There we go, we have a little bit of a dark edge around the wood, and we will do the same for the metal. Okay, so we will multiply this with the metal color, and there we go, that is the final touch. And now we have a super nice looking shield, and it is fully customizable. So the groups down here is all about creating the wood and the metal. You don't have to pay attention to these nodes. Okay, you don't have to pay attention to these nodes, you only have to pay attention to this bunch up here. Okay, this will be the mask that separate the wood and the metal, and this is the height information for the displacement. Okay, now let's change these the orders of these adds a bit so that it makes some more sense. So yeah, these are just add operations, so the orders don't matter that much, but we want to have some orders that make some visual sense. So yeah, let's move this one back here, and maybe connect this one over here and this one down here. Connect this one over like so. Yeah, this will make a little bit more sense, at least to me. So this is the bolts, and this is the edge. Okay, and the bolts combined with the edge to make this node. And down here we have this is the disc of the inside, I mean at the center, and this is the bolt, I mean the bolt on the disc, and this is the bolt added to the disc. This is the sphere at the center, and this is the sphere multiplied by a height value, and the sphere added to the center disc, and then all of that combined with the outside ring, border, and then we will combine that with the blades around the border. Alright, so let's customize the shield a little bit. So first let's go to the wood to set the number of the planks. So where is the number of planks? So this is the number of planks. Okay, we can increase this to something like that, a lot of planks, or we can have maybe just one plank. The entire shield is a single piece of wood, or you can have let's say 2 planks. Yeah, nobody have 2 planks as a shield. So yeah, let's set this to 12 planks, or maybe 11 planks. Alright, and next let's set the number of blades. So let's say we want 10 blades and slightly smaller blades. And let's change the number of bolts of the outside rings. And that is, where is it? Here. This is the bolts. Okay. Right now it has 43 rings, 43 bolts. And let's set this to 36. There we go. And maybe since we have 10 blades, maybe set this to 40. And that means one bolt will always end up at the center of one blade. Okay. And yeah, I think that's it. Alright, so that's it for the shield. I hope you enjoy this video and find many techniques within this tutorial useful. And again, this is not the best way to model a shield, but yeah, this is a fun project, and I'm sure you can learn a lot of useful stuff from here. I'll see you next time.